Adam and Adam, thanks for joining me in studio here for this episode of Canadians Create.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I don't know much about what we're going to be talking about, except it's got something to do with cars from Japan. And
High-Octane thrills.
There you go. It's going to be a fun one. Can you please introduce yourselves for our audience, and then we'll dig a little bit into the agency that you guys work with.
Sure, I'm Adam Reeves. I'm CCO at TBWA Canada. Born Torontonian who's been abroad in the States for a long time, and proud and happy to be back.
Adam Lang, Managing Director, TBWA Canada. I've been working with Nissan for almost 9 years now. Spent a long time working with a lot of other automotive. I love automotive. I think it's fast-paced. I think we create great commercials. I think we're at the forefront of marketing right now. We're at the forefront of AI. We're at the forefront of performance marketing. And I think that has a lot to do with the budgets that we are afforded to have in advertising.
So let's talk about TBWA a little bit. I want to know whatever, your kind of identity pieces. What is TBWA?
TBWA is many things to many people. It's one of the beauties of it. It's a global collective built on some strong ideas of disruptive creativity and a bit of on this side of the pond, a pirate swagger inherited from our friends in LA. It's a creative company that helps companies like Nissan and Apple around the world bring their communications to life.
One thing I would say is when we talk about disruption, we look at the conventions that our clients are facing. What are the conventions in that industry and how can we break them? That's what disruption is. It's breaking conventions so we can stand out and put our clients first.
Okay.
We've got a circle R on the disruption. It's a as Adam says, it's a methodology, and it's really a strategic way of looking at the world.
Okay, now you got to tell me more. What do you mean you have a circle R on? You own disruption?
Yeah.
We own disruption. Yes. If we show up, when our clients show up like the category, when our clients show up like their competition, then we're not doing our jobs.
Okay.
We need to show up differently. We need to disrupt in order to give them their greater share than what they're paying for.
Okay.
And it's one of the founders, or I shouldn't say founders, but one of the integral members of the TBWA team, Jean-Marie Drew, wrote a book on disruption many moons ago, and it's something that's evolved. He's written several books on it now, so it's a methodology that evolves and that keeps up with the times. But really, it's about leveraging against the status quo and finding a space in the market that our clients can own.
Okay, well, this sounds like it's rooted in strategy, right? So you need to do deep analysis on brands that you take on as clients to understand their market reality.
Yeah.
Which I think sounds to me is a little bit unique in the whole creative agency world.
Like rooted in strategy, but comes to life in creative.
Yeah.
And that's our world, right?
Right.
So we utilize our strategy team, which are extremely strong members of the team. We utilize them to find the disruption, and then we lean on Adam and his team to bring it to life creatively.
You still need it. It's like any strategic. It helps us find an area, but you still need to make a creative leap and creative choices in how you bring that to life.
And the agency is global. What's the history of it? How old is TBWA?
That's a good question. I'm too busy looking at the future of it to know the past. I think it was born in Paris.
Really came to life in the 80s.
Okay.
Really blew up in the 90s. Started to form the collective in the late 90s, building out into the 2000s. And now we're a worldwide agency. Nissan is a perfect example of a client that we have worldwide. Apple, a client we have worldwide. So we have agencies everywhere that you can imagine you need them. And they're all performing extremely well. One of the, fast companies, number one innovative companies of the world, 5 years running. It's doing very well.
What does TBWA stand for?
None of us know.
We'll come back to check our Instagram soon. There's some posts coming that address that very
people.
question. Yeah, exactly.
It's just the history of an amalgam that is now, right?
As our CEO Ev likes to remind me, it means the best women in advertising.
There you go.
So there's that.
Nice. Okay. So Nissan came to the agency, is it 9 years ago?
No, Nissan came to the agency in 1987 in the US, 1988 in Canada. We've been working with them ever since. Wow. It is a long-standing relationship, a very, very strong relationship. I've been with them for 9 years, and I've loved every minute of it.
I've been with TBWA for just under 2 years, both of which have been with Nissan, and have been excited to be part of it because it's a great brand. It's a great history. There's some great vehicles. And as Adam said, we're making great strides in making more and more interesting creative.
Okay. So we're going to talk about a couple different, manifestations of your work with the company, with the client Nissan. But tell me from your lens, I guess, what the legacy of this relationship is in terms of the evolution of creative that may have brought us to where we are in the last couple of years, and what you're working on now.
I sorry, I'm probably making noise I don't need to make. I think the relationship is so beyond creative. One of the things that we did back in 2018 is we merged everything into something called Nissan United. We have media, we have data teams, we have creative teams, strategy teams. They're all under one house. They all work together, solving the client's problems.
This is globally or in Canada?
It's globally.
Okay.
But it first manifested itself actually in Canada. And it was one of the best moves that we ever could have made as an agency, because now everybody is solving the client's problems,
right,
as opposed to fighting with P&Ls and all that kind of stuff. So we have strategy, media, everybody working on these great creative solutions. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a model we use with Apple, we use with Nissan. It's been really successful, and allows it to be one team, one dream.
Right.
It brings you back to like 2005 when media was in-house,
right,
and they all went out-house. But when they come back in, it's a completely different animal.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So you have these teams that are entirely allocated to this client, single client.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic.
We all sit together. We all work together. We all solve, as I say, we solve a brief together, as opposed to here's a media brief, here's a creative brief, here's a strategy brief. It's one brief.
Right.
What's the client's problem? Let us come back with the solution.
And it allows for an evolving solution and a continuing conversation, because it's not the first time people are seeing a brief from this company. It's the 101st time. And so there's a cadence, there's a rhythm, there's a communication that opens up. That's really great to growing ideas.
So tell me a little bit about Nissan in Canada.
Okay. I think a lot of people have heard the news. Nissan's been struggling worldwide. Okay. Some people have heard the news. I'd like to hear that some people haven't.
Yeah, good.
They're a struggling automaker who's looking to reinvent themselves right now and to refigure out how to make money. They're not making a lot of money. They've been very successful in Canada and the US, but struggling against, for example, the Chinese auto manufacturers who are growing exponentially every year. They'll be in Canada in the next year or two. So we're helping them reinvent themselves, rethink who they show up as, be a challenger brand, show up and be against Honda, be against Toyota. And that's where creativity comes into play. That's where we lean on Adam Reeves. How can we show up and, if we spend $1 million, how do we make it worth $10 million?
Sure.
And that's the brief we give to him every single time.
Just to clarify, it's not just me.
That's why half of his pair of glasses is blue and not the whole thing, right?
That's right.
Stay hungry, man.
Well, I lean on him. So they're doing well in Canada. Dealers are happy. We're selling cars, but we could be selling more, and we could be selling more profitably. And that's what we're helping them do.
Does the brand have corporate stores, or they're all franchises?
All franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And in Canada, a lot of those franchises are owned by conglomerates who own, maybe 10, 15, 20 different dealerships. So they all have an experience with a Kia, Hyundai, a Toyota. So we get to learn from that as well.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. We meet with dealers every single month, talk about their business, talk about what's driving their business, what isn't driving their business, what could we do more of. And some of the work that we've been doing since Adam joined us has been very well received. And the 60th anniversary that we did this summer was a huge win for us.
That's 60th anniversary of the company?
In Canada.
In Canada.
So they had a big anniversary a year ago, which was the 90th anniversary of Nissan as a company. But our lens on it was, there's a very special anniversary milestone here, which is the 60th anniversary. So Nissan's been in Canada for a long time. And I think, therefore, a lot of Canadians are familiar and have some good associations with some of the best pieces of metal they made.
Yeah, and it built off of what I was talking about, where there was like all this demise in the news about Nissan. Nissan's not going anywhere, but we needed something to tell Canadians, we're here, we're staying here, and we're going to continue to support you for a very long time. And it wasn't just about Canadians, it was about the dealer network and everybody. So we did this very large scale 60th anniversary campaign just to cement that, you know, we're a part of Canada and we're staying in Canada.
Okay.
So it was a big 360 campaign, and you know they wore that 60th badge that we get credit for them proudly. But at the middle of it was a really exciting film that we made that's got some high-octane stunts, some great historic vehicles in it, and a pretty rock and roll attitude to some sheet metal.
Should we take a look at it?
Yeah, let's play it.
All right, Igor, load us up.
For 60 years, Nissan has been driving excitement across Canada. 60 years of speed, 60 years of setting the pace. 60 years of pushing boundaries. Here's to the next 60, Canada. Nissan, #1 for new vehicle quality.
Okay.
So that was a statement that we've been around and we're going to be around. And yeah, a real stunt that we did on a real highway in Canada. Real cars and drivers were involved. So don't do this at home.
The Stig.
Yeah, exactly.
Good cardboard.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. Okay. And that was a single spot that kind of galvanized, you said, this kind of campaign around 60 years.
Single spot, but it went 360, right? Like we had it in every single media channel that we could have looked at. We had dealers hopping on board. We had it executed at dealerships. And, you know, the dealers really hopped on board too and got really excited about it. And that's what you need. When you have dealers excited about your brand, they'll sell your cars. If they're not excited about your brand, they lean on their other dealerships.
What have you guys found in terms of the customer stories to do with legacy marks or models within this mark? Like particularly what was on that carrier, like on the front of it, was it a Datsun Z28?
Datsun.
Is that what it is?
My dad used to sell
240.
Datsuns back in the day. Like
240. Is that what
he
it
was?
is?
Yeah, he was always a car guy, and that's one of the reasons I love this brand. Is it has such a history of making amazing vehicles. You go back to the Maxima of the 80s, like that was a thing. That was a statement piece.
Okay.
And you know, Pathfinder in the 90s. Like
right.
this brand made cars that were statement pieces for decades, fell apart a little bit for a while, but is rebirthed with amazing vehicles like the Z you just saw.
So, okay, like I only know, look, I grew up half in Africa. So for me, Nissan was definitely one of those cars that you couldn't break. Or if it broke, you could fix it easily. And so much beloved, definitely in East Africa. I'll speak on behalf of Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, you know. Everyone loved Toyotas and Nissans, let's just say equally, for this reason. And I think the Sentra model in Canada perhaps was always one that like people saw in that vein, right? This is an indestructible, lifelong car.
Well, you can go Sentra, you can go Micra, but like the Sentra, we've just rebirthed again. It's coming out in a couple of months. Just an amazing vehicle at a very good price, unrivaled by the competition. Like, I mean, QDR is like quality, reliability, dependability. It's a big thing in automotive. We always talk about QDR scores, and Nissan's outpacing Honda and Toyota on QDR right now.
So let's talk about the 60-year anniversary, because I think it's kind of a momentous thing, right? Because like you said, Chinese companies globally maybe have making like headway in owning market share in automotive, but at the same time, we're 2 years out from them being in Canada. So let's not even talk about that. But if we're talking about the past 60 years of the automotive industry in Canada, to what degree did you prepare for celebrating that anniversary by kind of like auditing the brand equity across the country? Like, what do Canadians think about Nissan, and how have they thought about it historically?
I personally think they don't think about it enough. That's part of our job right now, is to,
Right.
to remind them that there's cars out there they should be thinking of, and that this is a brand they love.
I think Nissan used to make some pretty good vehicles, but always sold it down. So they were selling at a discount to Toyota and Honda.
Based off of like the functional sale.
Very functional,
Mhm.
cheaper, good price, 5,000 off, whatever. What we're seeing now is if we're making cars that are on par or better with Toyota and Honda,
Mhm.
we have higher prices. So what we have to do is convince Canadians that Nissan is on par. It's not the cheap option. It's not the functional option. It is the emotional option that you want to own because it's better.
Mm.
And they are great vehicles. They do keep up, and they, like you're saying, they last, they kick butt.
But changing our advertising focus from functional to emotional has been the biggest shift we've made in the last 3 years.
Sure.
It needs to be an emotive purchase now versus a functional purchase of the past.
So, to that degree, what's the mechanism by which you're levering this transformation in market kind of optics?
Full scale revolution on the brand platform, I would say, without getting too into the weeds of it all. But there's a big push from headquarters and beyond to really show what these vehicles can do, and that they kick butt, and that they're built to keep up with people's lifestyles and take them places. So we're like taking that to heart in the communications, trying to be as innovative as we can to get in front of people and show them that these are cars that are capable and then some.
Yeah, I think we have an immensely exciting campaign launching at the beginning of next year. It heralds back to something that I think a lot of Canadians have heart for, remember Nissan for. So we're extremely excited to bring that back. AI has also been at the forefront of a lot of our work. TBWA and TBWA Collective worldwide is finding ways to be extremely innovative, not just creatively, but from a data, a media perspective, a creative perspective, all of that. How can AI reshape how Nissan shows up in the world? And we've been extremely successful so far.
So let's talk about that, because this is a hot topic, right? Everyone's talking about AI, but not many people are saying anything. So what to TBWA, I guess let's take a step back and say, as an agency, how are you employing artificial intelligence, or specifically, let's say AI-powered software and tools in your workflows, methodologies, or anything else, and then bringing it into this client experience?
You want to go?
I have a huge opinion on this.
Yeah, we've got different opinions because we deploy it in different avenues.
Okay.
I mean, it is shaping briefs. It is shaping creative territories. It's shaping ways in on how we talk to creatives. I'll leave media and data aside. I mean, I think everyone can understand how modeling is changing from a data perspective with AI and becoming cheaper. But, here's a perfect example. The other day, our clients wanted a video for Meta, and all we had was a still image of our vehicle. And within 10 minutes, we're outputting videos of that vehicle driving up to a cottage. And I was wowed by it. And then I showed it to my son this morning, and he looked at it. He's 11 years old. And he comes back on his phone and shows me 2 other videos he created in 45 seconds using AI. Like the pace that this is happening is faster than us. We can't even keep up with it, but I love that we're developing creative utilizing AI. I've seen an entire commercial created in the US, an entire commercial for a vehicle created purely using stills. And all of a sudden it's a video commercial for AI.
But what do you think about marketing efficacy for that format in the next 2 years as this becomes a ubiquitous experience for the
I think it's
customer?
extremely risky
Right.
that we're all going to chase the bottom line, and we're all going to create things off of things that were created before. And that's the risk of AI, right?
Right.
It removes ingenuity, it removes originality. And that's where creativity comes into play.
And that's why I don't go to it first. It's not my first place to go. I don't ask it for ideas. I ask it to feedback on my ideas, right, and help it. So I think creatively we use it in different ways. One is getting the feedback. We've created something called the Brave Bot, based on a famous creative director from the States, Lee Clow, who works at TBWA Canada, and Gordon Ramsay, the very famous and mean chef.
He's there too.
Yeah, he's in there too. So it really gives you some harsh feedback.
Tough love.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing, like, if you're going to put an idea in the world and it's going to get exposed and poked and prodded at by lots of people, it's great to get input early. So we use it like that. We've got a suite of tools that use all the big imaging, Imagen and VO3 that we really, all the art directors go crazy on. You know, our sandboxed version of ChatGPT is helpful just in our daily workflows. I like to use it as a junior writer to bounce back. Like I said, once I've got a scene idea, it can give me some ins and outs to it. So there's lots of ways to apply it, but I think and we do apply it, but the risk is it just gives you back that same middle ground answer as an original thinker.
Where everybody looks pretty and everything is fine.
I heard this recently. Someone was saying, fundamentally, most of these LLMs are somewhat programmed to please you. You know, they always want to please you. It's kind of like one of the scariest aspects of them, because you have to be really real with your expectations of what the output is.
That's where I love, if we can use it to pump out a quick little meta video, great. It should never take over the creative process. It should never take over the ingenuity of what creative teams bring to the table.
Okay, now let's talk about how you're using it with Nissan.
Well, we use it in lots, developing storyboard sketches, playing in all the ways we just talked about. Adam's team uses a lot of data that I'm sure is powered by AI.
I think like storyboards is a beautiful example. We used to pay, $30,000-$40,000 to get a good storyboard artist to output something, get a nice boardomatic.
And a timeline to wait for that product to come back, right?
Weeks.
Yeah.
And now I can get an AI storyboard utilizing an art director in 8 hours. And he can pump out that storyboard and have all the frames. They're not perfect.
Sure.
Nothing through AI is perfect. But when we talk about speed, when we talk about efficiency, when we talk about cost, this is where AI plays a huge role.
And whether we like it or not, it's here.
Yeah.
And, we were in a big meeting this morning where the visuals jumped incredibly from last night. And I don't think it would have happened as fast or as well just a year ago. The seeing the people use the tools now that are available is amazing.
Yeah, I have no idea how we're going to be using it in 6 months.
Yeah.
But 6 months ago, I wouldn't have known we would be here either.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Totally.
Okay. So now, this is like, let's consider this the present. Now we talk about the kind of near future. You're saying for this client, there's some exciting stuff happening early next year. Sound like product launch as well as intertwined in this.
Well, there's a couple of things coming up, but one campaign we're really excited about is featuring our vehicle, the Nissan Kicks, and showing how capable it is for winter. I don't know, Adam, if you want to talk.
Break it out.
Yeah, well, there's been a loved campaign in this market, which is a rare thing to have a campaign that people know and love. But the Nissan Snowman has had 2 chapters in Canadian Winter War, always built on some evil doing and ne'er-do-well snowmen who are out causing winter havoc as a kind of embodiment of the winter storms we face here. So we're excited to be showing a new chapter of that story, which is exciting for us.
I've spent years in focus groups with Nissan, and every time we show a commercial, all I have ever heard is, why don't you bring back those snowmen? Like, Canadians remember this campaign. So for us to be able to reinvent it and bring it back, I couldn't be more proud, because it was the first campaign I launched when I started working with Nissan, was the Return of the Snowman. And now we're launching the new chapter of it. And honestly, it is epic. I can't wait for it to launch.
And I champion new and original, and believe me, we're delivering new versions and new rhythms on this story. But it's like, I look at it like a movie sequel. We've got a character that people love and remember. Why not write another chapter? So with that in mind, we could play the last chapter that people saw. We don't have anything yet to show.
So this one would have launched in January 2017.
conquer all conditions. The new Nissan Rogue with our intelligent all-wheel drive system.
I remember when this launched, it was a 9-month saga to create something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
And again, TBWA ingenuity, like this is something that we're pulling together in 3 months, and it's going to be better. Incredible.
Yeah, and it's going to be not just the film, but again, there'll be a 360 campaign surrounding it. But we're excited to bring this to a lot of channels. And I think it's a story about a vehicle conquering all conditions, but more than that, it's a story about a human conquering a storm. And there's a lot of drama and a lot of storytelling, which is nice to be able to tell a brand story and feature some vehicles in it. It's a really good opportunity.
I know 360 would be multi-channel, encompassing everything, but what are you seeing as opportunities for communicating across channels in Canada today? And that could be colored by Nissan, colored by this, automotive segment, but because obviously, I mean, TV is a certain type of viewer these days, and so is YouTube. And then everything in between.
Yeah, I like making all types of work personally, and I think all channels are valid, and the social channels are emerging like crazy, and the younger consumer has been there for a long time. I think connected TV and YouTube are still play a huge role in viewership and in swaying opinions. So with these big mass market campaigns, the video is still there as part of it. But I think, if you're not getting talked about on social, your work's not really doing what it needs to do. So that's a huge part of the focus for us as well.
And I think, so TV, CTV, same thing, just another way of viewing it. But if we're not being contextual to the channel, don't be on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Don't show up on TikTok with some cut down of a TV spot. Show up on TikTok with something that works on TikTok. Show up on Meta, that's something that works on Meta. And I think way too many advertisers are trying to be very multi-channel and just push out blah.
Why
as opposed to, well, it's cheaper, right? It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort to show up on TikTok contextually and to work with TikTok creators to create something that is relevant to that channel. And you know what? If you can't do it right, don't choose the channel.
And it's not just cheaper, it's harder too, right?
Mm-hmm.
To create an idea for each channel, to get that idea approved every time. It's more work for people, and
we got caught in the game too. We got caught being on 7 different channels and doing it poorly, and then got smart and focused in on, say, 3-4 channels a campaign and doing it right. And the performance metrics are through the roof when we do it right versus blah when we do it wrong.
You can appreciate this. We have a lot of conversations now, even when we're filming anything. What's the aspect ratio? And 16:9 or 9:16, and it really is interesting. It used to be pretty easy to understand, but now with massive media engagements going to both, even in those changes, in those instances when you are putting one asset into a channel, it changes how you're going to produce it. And
for sure.
And it's a lot to think about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing, right? And God knows it's more than 2 these days, right?
And Adam's right in saying we're evolving, we're getting better. We haven't been perfect at it, but Nissan's a good example where, like, these last few campaigns we've done for them, each channel is treated specifically and specially, and you get better work from it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's been how many years? 8 or 9 years that you've been with
9 years
Nissan through TBWA. So what can you tell me about the evolution of the customer profile in that time?
Okay, customer profile. That's interesting. So again, going back to when I started on this client, it was an affordable option, a functional purchase that you could get cheaper than other Japanese manufacturers, but with flaws. I mean, back in the day, everybody complained about the CVT issues and everything with Nissan. You don't know them.
No.
They don't exist anymore, which is beautiful. So now we have our
is this
customer
catalytic converter stuff, or what are you talking about?
No, it's just CVTs would go after 200,000 kilometers, or people's CVT, continuously variable transmission, instead of the gears. Oh, this is getting way too deep. Let's skip it. The transmission had a perception of issues, and now the transmission is beautiful.
Okay.
But our new profile is a more affluent customer, not somebody who's looking for the cheapest vehicle, but somebody who's looking for a vehicle that is safe for their family, that has the best tech for their family, that is the most comfortable and best looking ride for their family. And that's how we're selling the vehicles now versus back in the day. Probably 80% of our efforts was saying $5,000 off.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it leads to a big shift in how you communicate.
Yeah. Well, also, I would say that now the availability in advertising to niche down on your targeting for your customer profile is vastly different than 10 years ago.
Well, it's a niche down, but at the same time, we can't just rely on loyalty anymore, because some people who are coming out of $300 leases don't want to pay a $500 lease, let's say. So we have to actually conquest a lot of people from other manufacturers. So that's been a big shift for us too, is like bringing in new people to Nissan and introducing the brand to them, which is why the creative has to be so exemplary and stand out for someone to say, hey, I never thought of that brand, but you know what, now I will.
To that end, though, on this idea of kind of like brand affinity in the segment because of leasing taking over as well in the last 10, 20 years is a predominant way of purchasing a car. It's not even a purchase. Everyone thinks of it as like they're borrowing somebody's car, right? And that's just the price is the penalty they have to pay for borrowing the car. I'm always shocked when I talk to people about cars, because personally I want to own my car and I don't want to think about constantly paying for it.
I actually think it's silly to own a car these days.
Yeah.
I think everybody should lease, because just like when we were talking about AI, the cars are constantly evolving every year now, not like back when they did in the 2000s.
I don't want an evolved car. I'm not your customer profile, but I'm also not like even my wife,
I am somebody who changes cars every 2 years because I want the latest tech, and the tech is evolving every 2-3 years to give me a completely different car experience every time I get in a new car. My new car drives itself. It's beautiful.
Okay. What model of Nissan is it?
It's a... I don't want to say.
We'll edit this out.
Edit that out.
It's a Tesla. We'll cut that out. But it's true. It's true. I mean, the predominant purchaser of a car is looking for utility, and they're looking for that lifestyle fit. And the practicality of purchase price is just about budgeting, right? It's less... 100%. So there is a willingness, I think, to switch between marques that has never been this volatile or fluid, right? In the Canadian economy, it seems
100%. So if we can stay in the price range, and I truly believe you don't have to be $10 cheaper. I think you can be $30 more and still convince a consumer that that's worth it on a monthly basis.
And especially when you hit them in the heartstrings, like when we're talking about people to things that matter to them, about emotional reasons to buy this car, then the extra price on the lease becomes immaterial, I think.
So outside of Snowmen chasing you, everyone's nightmare in winter, what are the other kind of like messages that you convey to customers for this brand in developing that brand affinity in line with trust and family safety and all these other values that you're talking about? What are the messages that like Nissan has for the Canadian audience?
Well, we're built for your best, and we're helping people kick butt in the world, I think is my kind of dumb person's takeaway of it. I think the Snowman campaign is messaging that we can conquer all conditions. And that's one great example of kind of how we can take an emotional story and leverage it into something that matters to Canadians. So I think that's a good example of the messaging we're bringing. And then, I don't know if when we think about the strategy more in the platform, we really just want to show people that we're allowing them to do them, and that we're building vehicles that keep up and set the pace.
Yeah, I think the automotive industry is just a Me Too industry. Too many people are shooting the exact same commercial where you could change a badge, and that could be a Toyota ad, that could be a Honda ad, that could be that. And what we challenge ourselves as the disruption company is, how can we show up differently? 60th anniversary, Snowman. These are levers for us to differentiate ourselves from our competition and win a greater share. And I think that we've been stellar at it in the last year. And I think 2026 brings a huge opportunity for us and for Nissan globally to show up differently.
Yeah, and to that end, I think you'll see more films like this, and you'll see some pieces of work that aren't filmed first that are pretty exciting in the social space that that we're cooking up as well.
Goes back to how we show up on TikTok, how we show up on YouTube.
That's a TikTok moment.
TikTok. We constantly look to challenge ourselves on every platform we show up on, and it's a proving ground. It's been working really well for Nissan.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for us to regroup in the new year because for our audience that might see this before Christmas, it's the end of 2025, and a lot of this sounds like it's going to hit the market in a couple months. So we'll have you back in studio and we can talk a little bit more specifically about how this all kind of plays out in media, right?
I couldn't be more excited.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Sounds good. Wicked.
Thanks, guys.
Go Jays.
Thank you. Go Jays.
Famous last words.
Yeah, exactly.